You know, now that I think about it, I think I became really serious about telling a really good story many years ago. I had a couple of friends that wrote, and I really didn't like the way that they, at that time, they knew a little bit more about writing than I did, and I really didn't like the way that they belittled me in so many ways when they read my stuff, and you know, because they just didn't see me as a person on any level. So, but I have to thank them. If it wasn't for that moment with those guys, I would have never really started really trying to write the bomb story. You know, took that moment of, you know, just really saying, okay, you know, I needed to focus and really, and that's around the time when I started to slow down and really was thorough with my stories. You know, when I wanted to prove to myself that I can write a good story and that I can write better than them, and that is when I knew. And what was the question? That's when I knew that I was gonna take writing serious, and that's when I knew that I wanted to tell great stories. And then I felt I did this one particular story called Rainbow. I felt like that was a breakthrough story for me. I think that's when I finally started to really get what storytelling was. That's uh, when I really started to just really see the elements and really see it clearly. And, you know, until this day, although Rainbow is very outdated, you know, it's probably one of the best things that I wrote. It was a breakthrough story for me. And I'm considering making it a book. It's a screenplay. It's about two women that fall in love. But you know, but it's not necessarily that that they're lesbians. They just fall in love, you know. And I wrote that. It was ahead of this time. I wrote that, man. So it's probably, what's this, 2020? Yeah, I probably wrote that close to 20 years ago. You know, so some of the things that happened in that story are things that, you know, that makes the story very relevant today. So anyway, I started taking my writing really serious. I think that was the question. To challenge myself and just be better than those two guys that were my friends at the time, and that's it. First of all, I don't know, Sister Soldier. Um, I'm a huge fan of. I've always been a huge fan of her, growing up, and you know, listening to her speak and paying attention to her. You know, growing up, she was so well spoken. Um, but this is what happened. So I read all of her books. The Coldest Winter Ever is a very good book, but unfortunately, every book that I read after that, I think, and this is kind of the conversation I had with her. I felt like that she became more about making money than telling a good story. So I read her Midnight series. You know, I had just had a stroke, and you know, her books literally kept me company every night before I went to sleep. So I read all the Midnight books, and um, I mean, just reading it, you know, I mean, aside from the attraction Midnight may have had to the ladies and things like that, when you talk about storytelling, she made some critical mistakes in the stories between all of the books. You know, she created a character, and it's just my opinion. I hope nobody's offended, but it's just my opinion. She created a character in Midnight who was cool, he was very judgmental of a lot of people, but he was killing people. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? I think he killed like 4 people throughout the books or whatever. So that right there, I think in my other video I said, your protagonist can't really do a whole lot immoral. And then I think which book was this? It was one of her books where they went to Korea or something. I don't remember which book it was, but I read the Portia book. I read all of them that I can remember. And one thing that I didn't like, was that, you know, she tended to take you places that have nothing to do overall with the story. And it's like, what was the point of this and that? So anyway, after reading all the books back to back, you know what I'm saying, I was so upset by the time I got through the last book that I read, that I emailed her and I told her she was a horrible storyteller. Now, let me explain that. She's a great writer. I like the way she put her words together and everything. You know, she's well spoken. She's a great writer. But, you know, she's not a great storyteller to me. You know what I'm saying? And I didn't make this decision just off of one book. I made this decision after reading several books. You know what I'm saying? Because I noticed that even in the book with Porsche, that it was just some stuff missing, and you know, you go on places and, you know, I don't know. But that's when I knew that I was passionate about writing. Me and her went back and forth in emails or whatever. She kind of cursed me out or whatever. But, you know, I was just, you know what I'm saying, you know, it's no love lost for me. And, you know, I love Sister Soldier. I just wish she, you know, because she's such a good writer, and there's a difference between being a good writer and a good storyteller, that I think once you get the storytelling down, that she would be awesome. But what I told her is that, listen, I can tell nobody's around her is telling her the truth about her writing. She don't know me, so I was just able to say, hey, you know, I mean, I'm speaking purely out of emotion because I was upset when I got through reading, you know, the Last Midnight book. You know what I'm saying? I really was upset. So I emailed her, and that's not a good thing. So my thing is, as I told her, I said, you need to stop surrounding yourself with yes people, and surround yourself with people that's going to really be honest with you, so you can write the best stuff possible, and stop trying to, you know, make this a money maker, you know what I'm saying, by all these series of books or whatever. You know what I'm saying? You know, you got a classic book. The Coldest Winter is a classic book. So, you know, so now you've devalued that series because you're trying to release so many midnight books or whatever. You know what I'm saying? And you're trying to release these books, and they're not good. You know what I'm saying? Like, what are you doing? You know what I'm saying? So anyway, you know, there's no beef or nothing like that. I'm just D-Rev, you know what I'm saying? But I do respect her, and, you know, my thing is that, you know, is that I'm very passionate about storytelling, and I just needed her to know. I'm going to try to put a link to that. Yeah, I'm going to try to find this email. This was some years back, probably about 4 or 5 years ago. I'm going to try to find a link to the email and let y'all read them. I'm going to try to find it and post the link at the, you know, at the bottom of this or whatever. So anyway, so basically that's it. No beef with Sister Soldier. I just feel like she could be a great storyteller, but she has to first really get the elements of storytelling down. But she did tell me that The Coldest Winter Ever would become I think it was in like pre-production or something. It was going to be a film. But, you know, again, I had this conversation with her 4 or 5 years ago. I think The Coldest Winter Ever is a good book. I've read it and enjoyed it every time I've read it. It was referred to me from another friend. I referred it to other people. So hopefully that movie will come out, and I will put my money up to see that. Shout out to Sister Soldier. I've read several good books I'm gonna name 3 books, and I like them for all different reasons. Um, so the one book that moved me and affected me enough to really look at my life differently, really look at things differently, that had an effect on me was The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho, something like that. I think his name is. That book, at the time that I read it in my life, it was really eye-opening and awakening. It was a great story. But then I read the book years later, and it was boring as hell. It didn't affect me the same. I mean, just, but it affected me at the right time when I first read it. So I would definitely say The Alchemist. The next book is Kindred by Octavia Butler. Very entertaining, very good book, and I think they have like a series now on Hulu about that story. And I heard, I haven't seen it, but I heard that some people are disappointed about it. But the book had me going. The book is definitely something that I enjoyed from beginning to end. So that would be another book. That's another book that sticks out. Now, this last book is what really, really inspired me to write my first book, or let me know that I could tell my story without any judgment and just say what it is. And that book is by Iceberg Slim, called Pimp. Powerful book, great book. Book about a guy from Chicago who was a pimp, and everything that he went through. You actually have a few series of the book. I don't know if I got. I think I got one of his books over there. He got several books. I've only had the chance to read one. Which is Pimp, which is one he's definitely known for. Well, he's known for all of them, but there's a documentary about Iceberg Slim. If you never heard of him, he's one of the writers of black culture. He if you don't know who Iceberg Slim is, you need to look him up for real. You know what I'm saying? Because he wrote some. When you talk about some really urban, eye-opening books, Iceberg Slim is the person that you need to listen to for the type of stories that he wrote. So those are the 3 books that I would put as my best books for 3 books for 3 different reasons. Again, I want to tell different type of stories. All of them books are totally different vibes, totally different vibrations, but that's what it's about. I read different books, you know what I'm saying? Because a good story is a good story. It doesn't matter if it's in Hollywood, if it's in paradise, if it's in the hood, if it's, telling a good story. I mean, Kindred was about a slave, about slavery times, you know what I'm saying? But it was a good read. And, so again, I say this to you, definitely challenge yourself, definitely seek out to read other perspectives, seek out other stories, and be unique with your storytelling, even with what you read. Just to see, so you can see what other people are doing and what other people are talking about. I'm D Revolution. Like and subscribe to my page. Peace.